Hey guys, Artosis here with the Race Survival Series. We are in week number 8 right now. Of course, if you saw week 7, then you saw a nice little comeback there from Sins to win it for Team Protoss. And now we are starting off with a Zerg versus Protoss here in week number 8. But before I introduce these players, let me just talk about the teams for a moment. First off, Team Terran, Royal, Sharp, and Speed, a really ridiculously awesome lineup. That's like 2 top 5 Terrans. And of course, Speed, you guys have seen me cast him a fair amount, and definitely one of my favorite up-and-coming Terran players. For Protoss, we have Mini, probably the best Protoss in the world right now, Tyson and Mighty. Another couple up-and-comers that are really strong at the moment. And then for Zerg, we have Action, 815, and MisO. So a really great lineup here in week number 8. Now, let's talk about this match we have up here at 12 o'clock on Neo Sulfite. None other than MisO. He has definitely been a big-time regular in the Race Survival Series. And over here at 9 o'clock, we have Tyson, who we've seen a fair amount of as well. And he's been playing quite well, I have to say. Like, I feel like Tyson right now is definitely one of these Protosses that we might have to be looking out for in the coming year. Definitely he's been having a lot of really great games, but is he going to be able to take out MisO, who has shown us that not only does he have his aggressive style, but he plays some really solid macro Zerg versus Protoss matches, especially here in Race Survival as well. He's definitely quite a seasoned veteran compared to someone like Tyson, but I would not underestimate Tyson here. Now, the map is Neo Sulfite, as I mentioned, a 3-player map. We have the Gateway expansion, the Overlord scouting that right away. Tyson finding MisO first as well. So both players with complete information as to what is going down at the moment. We'll see what they end up doing with that. Will MisO just go for that 3rd hatchery that we normally see? I would imagine so. Of course, Tyson taking just a tiny bit of hull damage here, but does back it up, does not want to be losing this probe. That is about the worst thing that can happen early on in Protoss versus Zerg. Now, look at this. He stays in front of that drone because he knows this is the most likely location for a 3rd hatchery. There are mineral patches right there. And then turns and dives after this drone. He does want to try to slow this down. Looks like MisO wants to go for the high ground. Of course, this is a great expansion to take Sim City-wise because it does have this small ramp. These types of bases are really hard to break for Protoss, but it's so far away from everything that it does make it a bit harder. But as the probe follows the drone, we have that mineral-only base taken. So this one a lot closer to defend. I think it's what MisO probably originally wanted anyways. And I think if the drone hadn't followed him, honestly, he just takes this base. So, you know, there's a little bit of flexibility there where he can take his 3rd. Now, the first few lings coming out to chase the probe back a little bit. Pretty quick nexus with this Gateway expansion. Notice that the Zealots have not been sent out yet. 3 Zealots, now a 4th on the way, and all of them just standing near the Gateway. So Tyson waiting quite a bit before sending those out, and maybe this will catch MisO a little bit off guard, right? Like, a lot of times we see the slow drip of Zealots walk across the map, and then the Zerg player's just like, okay, well, we'll make sure that we have, you know, 4 to 6 lings for the first one, and then we'll make some more depending on how that goes for the second, so on and so forth. But here with 3 coming at once, he definitely has to make a fair amount. I'm actually a little bit nervous for him. Like, he started 4 more, but even 8 lings against 3 Zealots and a probe, like, you can take that. So it's got to be careful at that. Now, these 3 Zealots going over to that mineral-only base, and the probe is actually watching for a counterattack. The counterattack does not come, and it looks like he's getting ready to dive back in. Okay, so he is going to. The Zealot's backing up now. Ooh, look at that handsome location there. Very hard to kill anything off there. Now, the probe getting into the main base. Oh, my God. He's going to be able to scout the Hydra den. This is a huge scout. Tyson has actually done fantastically, and this is a terrible spot to fight with Zerglings. Look at that. 3 Zealots in a line. This is like the movie 300, or maybe the real actual 300, right? Like, these are the Spartan Zealots, and they got their shirts off, and these Zerglings basically can't kill them. It would be such a terrible victory for them. A Pyrrhic victory, even. Might want to even hatch one of those Hydralisks to start getting some pot shots. All right, the Zealot comes out. He doesn't want to wait there to die. Does try to dive onto some drones. and not gonna quite catch them. Of course, there is another one still left over here. But yeah, that's a beautiful place to stand, I have to say. Now, is this rush actually going to occur? We have the Zergling speed, I mean the Hydra speed rather, sorry, on the way. And finally that one does go down. But just because you get Hydra speed and a few Hydras doesn't mean that you're going to go completely all in. Occasionally what we see is just a handful of Hydras to like bust down the gateway or whatever. And oftentimes there's a forge here. You know, just whatever's out front, basically. But we don't see that occurring here. Well, the forge we don't see occurring here, right? Like, he built it in the main base. So, honestly, I'm looking at MisO's position compared to Tyson's, and I like Tyson's quite a bit. Like, if he loses stuff at his wall, it's maximum, like, a gateway and maybe a pylon, depending on how the cannons are placed. But I love the placement. I love the fact that the forge is in the main base. I feel like his Zealots did a pretty darn good job in leaving the probe to go in as the Zerglings went over to deal with the Zealots. Very, very smart move to scout this 3-hatch Hydra play. And MisO is making a hell of a lot of Hydras right now. So this is some serious business. This is the real 3-hatch Hydra build. But more cannons are coming. This is a lot of Zealots as well. Like, okay, knock down this gateway. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think we'll see a couple more cannons probably go up as well. There's one cannon there. Okay, that seems like a non-hold position Zealot there. Does back it up. Yeah, another cannon as well. So going up to 5 cannons. More and more Hydras are coming across the map. So MisO seems to think he can still bust this, which honestly I find a little bit surprising. Corsair across the map does catch an Overlord. That's highly annoying. MisO does have to deal with that. You can't be getting supply blocked right now. Well, actually, he is supply blocked. So a bit of an issue. I think that means that we probably will see him pull the trigger at this point, since the Overlord is very slow. All right, here we go. Pushes in. And the Zealot's going to start to walk out. They're taking quite a bit of damage while these cannons are dealing damage. And now Tyson drills out with those probes. Drills back in. The Hydra's actually doing okay for a moment. And then the Zealots get on top of them. Legs finish up, but honestly, at the end of the day, we lost, like, what? I don't think we lost any probes. A lot of the Zealots did fall, but only one cannon? Very solid hold so far here from Tyson. Even has that +1. We'll see if he gets that armor started pretty soon. Templar Archives is coming up. More Hydras still being made from MisO. Let's take a look, right? He's just rallying out lots and lots and lots of Hydras. Has that additional macro hatch here at the 3rd. Has an additional macro hatch in the natural. So, just building up that economy still, spending the few drones he does have to get even more hatches, possibly for even more Hydras. Another cannon coming up. Still, safety being used here from Tyson. Still scouting with this Corsair. Looks like it did end up getting a single Overlord kill as well, which is very, very nice. Back down to just 52 here on the supply. So another supply block for MisO. But honestly, I don't see how in the world you're going to hold. Like, he's getting up to 7 cannons and a bunch of speed +1 Zealots. We even have Psystorm on the way. Let's see what can happen here. MisO pushes forward once again. That is a lot of Hydras, and they are dealing a lot of damage. The probes come out for a bit of a drill, so some of the probes will end up falling here. The cannons, though, getting their damage down onto these Hydras. Every single Zealot is dead. But a lot of the Hydras end up falling as well. We only have a group of 9 of those original attacking ones left over. Corsair still getting a little bit of harassment done. And now High Templars are joining the party. As Psystorm finishes up, this is going to become more and more a fruitless endeavor. But we see on the production tab a bunch of drones being made. So there is a transition occurring right now. And of course, it's like a very safe time for MisO to transition, right? Like, he killed off basically the entire army, so there's nothing that can really come out to attack him. He's still got plenty of Hydras to hold anything coming out. But yeah, that being said, obviously Tyson has had a higher worker count for quite some time, and he's getting some better upgrades. His army is going to scale a little bit better here. So I am a little bit nervous still here for MisO. I don't think that his 3-hatch Hydra really did enough. It feels like it was about as much of a failure as it can be. Like, I guess he didn't overly waste his units. Like, he pulled them back at the right times and whatnot. But really, he didn't end up killing all that much. A few probes, a lot of zealots. But, you know, damage was dealt to his own economy. Now, he is trying to catch up. The layer is almost done. We have +1 ranged attack on the way. There's another macro hatch, so going up right now into 6 hatch Hydra. But against the Psy Storms, that is going to be a tough one. We also have a shuttle being made. So that's actually kind of early. You know, obviously you can get into Observers if you think your opponent's going Lurker. I don't think that normally Lurker is that quick after 3 hatch Hydra. But this is going to be a DT drop. And MisO, I think he's kind of sniffed out that this is an idea here for Tyson. Oh my god, he moves magically into position there. Really has a good idea of what's happening. Picks off the shuttle. That's a great catch right there. MisO with some killer star sense. Now the Zealot's coming for a bit of a flank on these Hydras. Now that is a beautiful move as well. Going to get a lot of free damage, a lot of free kills. You know, I think still worth for MisO, though. The fact that he was able to stop that drop from coming into his main base, that could have been absolutely devastating, especially if he did not see it go in. Now, the Zealot's going to go out on the map to roam a bit. We have the 4th base coming up for MisO. He's on 6 hatch Hydra, 4th base. It's amazing to me how quickly drones can be made here for Zerg. Like, he was on 20 drones and just, like, popped around to 10, and suddenly here we are. He's tied up with Protoss on that. Starting to macro those Hydras out once again. Is he going to have enough to hold off all of this harassment? It seems like Tyson just going to lose a lot of Zealots. Maybe not the best engagement here for Tyson as he runs out. Some more Zealots going elsewhere on the map towards that 4th base location. Oh, my god. Oh, he kills the hatch with a Dark Templar. Beautiful pickoff from Tyson. That is actually gigantic. Like, a 4th base up and mining would be so strong for MisO against 2 bases. You know, you can kind of live with your opponent being up 1 base, but when they get up 2, that's where it gets really, really scary, especially when it's 4 against 2. If it's something like 6 against 4, that's not anywhere near as scary. So anyways, we have the move out here from Tyson. He has Dragoons in his army. He has those Observers now for any incoming Lurkers. Of course, we can see the Lurker aspect upgrade has only just been started, so no Lurkers on the way yet. That's going to make his Zealots even more powerful. +2 attack is on the way for them as well. We have Kadarian Amulet coming up for those High Templars for even more Psy Storms. Single Corsair still kind of flying around. I think that's a new Corsair. Maybe I'm wrong on that. And now we have a 3rd base coming up. Now, I find this 3rd base really interesting in this matchup because these are not full mineral patches. They're 2/3, and then this is not a full gas. It's like, what, 40%? So it runs out quicker, but it is a 3rd gas that's pretty well defendable. Like, look, this is a somewhat small choke to shove all these Hydras through. Looks like he's going to try anyways, but Psy Storms are going to have a field day in here. Yeah, look at that. One Psy Storm goes down, and MisO just turns tail and runs out of there. Even gets another one on the way out. Not sure if that one was as needed. More Dragoons coming up here for Tyson. That base being retaken. Some more scouting going down from the Corsair. Beautiful scout. Just checking. No Hive, no Spire, nothing like that. So that's like actually a lot of intel right now. But the Hydras seem like they will catch it. Oh my god, just barely gets out of there. But yeah, let's take a look, right? We actually have more drones for MisO right now than we have probes for Tyson, which is not something I was really expecting after 3 hatch Hydra play. But Tyson's spreading his probes out nicely onto that additional base. Ooh, very juicy Psy Storm there. We do have Lurkers joining in. But it feels to me like we're going to have to get a big SimCity here. Because can you do a Lurker Hydra defense all through here and here? It seems like too wide an area right now. I think you'd have to concentrate your defenses in a smaller area. Like maybe this type of area. But then that's a little bit open too. Yeah. I mean, this is some of the interesting stuff that we actually end up seeing on Neo Sulfite, right? Like it is kind of open in the center that allows for different attack paths. So here we go. Tyson coming in now to the widest area. Only a couple Lurkers here to help out. The Dragoon's going to be able to take those out very, very quickly. Storm goes down. MisO backing up. So is Tyson. Tyson's supplies starting to peak up a little bit. Adding a lot of high-quality units into his army. He is getting that +2 armor now to go with his 2 on upgrades. Starts to attack up into this smaller choked area. The Hydra's there to meet him. Do turn around and run. Zoom out here once again. Take a bigger look at this picture. Some Hydras going around. These might go for a flank or possibly to try to pick off some High Templars. No, he brings them back up. So it looks like he's going to engage in this small choke. So that can be good, but the Psy Storms can work here to the advantage of Tyson if MisO goes too far in. But yeah, the way he backs up into an arc around such a small exit way, Tyson backs up, and I love to see it. Like, if you see someone try to go through there, they're going to get absolutely slaughtered. So Tyson going down to the south. He is actually taking another base as well. A fourth base coming up in this PVZ. Very nice plays here. MisO backing up with his mass Hydras. He does have that +2 range. Looks like he was starting maybe a drop upgrade, but ended up canceling it, just focusing on buying some more units. Oh, God, this attack coming in is actually so scary. Look how many High Templars we have here as well. So many Psy Storms available. Looks like a lot of them will not even go off. Okay, does get that one off very nicely indeed. The Storms are just absolutely brutal. These Dragoons are going to pulverize the rest of the Hydras, which have already taken a ton of damage here as well. Starting to pick off anything he can, like the Observers, but that's not going to help. No Lurkers up here anyways. A Storm goes down onto those Hydras. And I tell you, Tyson looks like he's starting to break through. MisO in a bit of trouble. Some more Storms go down. The flank of Hydras does not seem like it's going to be enough. These Dragoons on the high ground doing a fantastic job. More Storms going down. Maybe some Archons going to be created as well. I guess for now, they're only going to tank damage. Another Storm comes down. Speed Zealots coming across the map. And this little group of Hydras is not going to be able to do very much against that. The rally here from Tyson, absolutely deadly. And as you take down the fourth base, as well as two of the hatcheries, which affects the macro quite a bit, this doesn't feel like a game that we're going to see MisO really climb himself back into very well. But he is going into Hive. Okay, so this is maybe the comeback mechanic that's going to be able to do something here for MisO. Right? Like, he wasn't able to hold on to the fourth. It was a great attack here from Tyson, some fantastic Psy Storms, and Tyson has 4 bases, so suddenly we have Protoss up a base on Zerg, so obviously it looks very, very bad for Zerg, but there's still some possibilities if you can get up to actual Hive tech. Adrenal upgrade for Zerglings makes them basically efficient against everything, and then, of course, you can get into Defilers, which can really change the course of a game, but it seems like a tall order. Now, these Hydras coming over to clear this up, even with the high ground advantage. This small Dragoon army not able to do very much. Of course, Archon's not good against Hydras here either, so he's going to be able to pop that very quickly and take down the rest of these Dragoons, maybe be able to expand here once again. And, yeah, I mean, it's a good clear, but you need to do so much more than what we're seeing here from MisO, right? Like, that's 63 supply to 119 during that. It's certainly not a good situation. All right, a lot of Lings being made, Lurkers being made, Defiler Mound being made, Adrenal upgrade being made. So these are kind of exactly what you'd be looking towards. And just to make it clear, like, Ling, Lurker, Defiler is like some scary Hive tech, right? The Adrenal upgrades, the Lings are so strong. And then what would you use against the Lings? Well, like Archon Zealot, but then the Lurkers like help against that so much. A lot of High Templars in this army, though, making me a little bit fearful for MisO and his health. That is a lot of High Templars. The macro this game out of Tyson is actually very, very impressive. He's doing a fantastic job, but almost out of gas here. Almost out of gas here. Natural still doing okay, though. All right, here comes this attack. Only a couple Lurkers. I mean, if you had 10 Lurkers here, yeah, you can hold this, but oh, a huge Psy Storm up to the north there. No Lurkers to speak of. These Zealots going to be able to tank a lot. 2-2 upgrades are here. And GG is called. Tyson takes down MisO in game 1.